What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be putting on some LED pods up on the corners here of the windshield like the Jeep has. I did get some cheap brackets off Amazon, so we'll see how these do. I haven't opened them up to take a look at them yet. The pods I ended up going with, these are just like some flood ones because I don't want them to be super bright if I'm using them for driving. And the main reason is why I'm putting these on is because my HID headlights, they like kind of suck ass. So they take forever to like warm up, and then they like, if I switch from my low beams to my high beams, they'll be like real dim and take forever to load up. So when I'm driving at night, like if I'm coming back from a buddy's house or trails or something, I usually just run my low beams all the time. So I went ahead and picked up some of these floods. If I don't like them and I do want to swap to spotlight ones, I'll just mount these ones in the back because I'm planning on doing like a rear tire carrier eventually, and I can just use them for like a backup trail light, or if someone gets stuck and it's dark and we need to tow them out or whatever, I'll have them. So I will have a purpose for them if I don't like them up here, as like, because these are technically going to be my high beams. These are the aux beam pods. They're 4-inch, 18 watt. I think they are 1800 lumens is what they are. Aux beam is like one of the, I guess you could say, better Amazon brands if you're going for like just some Amazon LEDs. I do have an aux beam 50-inch on my Jeep that I've had on there for like 4 years now, and it sat out in rain and snow and took some abuse getting hit by trees and shit on the trails, and it still works fine. No issues with it at all. That's why I went with these. If I do have any issues with the pods, you will definitely know about it, because I will probably do a review on it eventually and let you know. So let's all go ahead. I'm going to open these up. I'm going to open up the little brackets, and then we'll go ahead and get these installed. But first, before we just like go ahead and bolt them on and whatnot, I'm going to grab my voltmeter or whatever you want to call it, probe thing, and I'm probably going to wire these into my high beams. And so when I flip to my high beams, these will turn on, and then them will turn on with it. But if them don't turn on, I still have these. And then when I go to low beams, I'll just go back to my normal low beams. And then eventually, after I fab up a bumper and I build a different roof, I'm going to have a 30-inch that goes across, and then will be run on their own switch. So I got to figure out how to wire everything with the high beam. So I'm going to open up this stuff, kind of go over it, show you it, and then we'll jump into the install. Alright, so these brackets here, they seem to be pretty nice. Like, they're not like super thin, like they're definitely thicker than the ones I have on the Jeep, and the powder coat seems to be pretty decent. I already noticed one issue with this, that, well, I guess it's not an issue with these, it's actually an issue with the windshield I have, but it's super fine. I'll explain that in a minute. And if I forgot to mention already, all the links to this stuff will be down below in the description if you want to use this same stuff. So let's go ahead and open up these pods here. Looks like a box with like some hardware in it. Yeah, so here's the mounts for each of them. Just set that off to the side. Here's the pods itself. Oh, and we get some stickers in there. Some aux beam stickers, probably instructions and whatnot. Yeah, that's what comes in the box. And if I didn't mention, these were really cheap. These were only like 20 bucks. Let's go ahead and set this stuff on the ground over there, and we'll take a look at one of these extra pods. I mean, they don't seem that bad. They have their logo kind of etched in, it feels like, and painted. Solid. Probably just plastic there. But no, overall they seem legit, and it'll be good enough for a cheap alternative for headlights at night. So break them both out. Yep, that's the pods. Alright, so I actually just reached my hand up underneath the dash here. It's probably gonna be kind of hard to see, but I just pushed on the back of this light switch here, the little rocker switch, and it pushed out. And I don't know if they're all supposed to come out that easy, but it came out pretty easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm just gonna take my voltmeter and cram it in the back of these with the key on and see which one lights up for the high beam. I thought you could get to it through the front, but you definitely can't. But it came out pretty easy. Once I figure out which wire it is for the high beam, I'm just gonna splice it and then tap my wires in for my pods, and then be good to go pretty much. So I actually ran into some problems I think the actual high beam itself is like built into the headlight or something, because I found a couple of these that run like no power when it's off, and then it'll be 12 volts when the low beam's on, and then 12 when the high beam's on. And then I found a couple other ones that were just 12 volts all the time, and the rest were pretty much nothing all the time. So I'm probably just gonna go get a switch. I'll run to like advanced auto. I think I'm gonna put it down here though, because like if I have my harness on, let me flip this back down. If I have my harness on, it's like kind of hard to reach that switch there anyhow. I'm like maxed out. Where like this one here, I can touch it a lot easier. And then that way it's kind of hidden off to the side. And then eventually when I run all my other light bars, I'll just wire them all into this one and say f it. I didn't want to go that route, but whatever, it'll be all right. All right, what is up, guys? I am back from town. I'll show you what I got. Hopefully this stuff don't fall. I got a fuse because if I'm wiring everything up, I don't want to rely just on the switch. So I went and got like a 30 amp fuse. That should be good enough for some LEDs, I'm thinking. If not, I'll upgrade it. I did get some different wire because the other wire I had is a little bit thicker. I think that's like 12 gauge wherever I put it. So I picked up some 18 gauge because LEDs don't draw that much current, and that should be enough. And then I just got this little switch that I'm gonna wire everything up to, and then I'm gonna stick it in there. All I need to do is drill a hole for that, which hopefully I have a drill bit big enough. If not, I'll just like kind of hone it out. All this stuff came out to like 20 bucks. Like I said before, them pods were like 20 bucks. So like 40 bucks in total, and I'm gonna have everything wired off its own switch. And I should be able to use this switch again when I get my bumper bar, which is probably just gonna be like a 10 inch or a 12 inch or something, and then when I run the 30 inch. But the camera is starting to lose battery, so I'm gonna go ahead and break out this drill bit. I'm gonna try to do this stuff a lot quicker. I'm gonna straight up just go off of the auxiliary here, and then the ground, run my lights, put them on, and then I'll probably not show you how to wire everything up. I'll just flip it on and show you what I did, and then I'll talk about them bracket problems real quick. So with my headlight, I mentioned this earlier, or not my headlight, but with my windshield, it has this bezel thing on the side. So this is supposed to mount like this, right? But it can't because it's hitting the headlight for where these bolts go in. So I don't really want to, but let me grab the other one. I'm gonna have to offset it off to the side like this, which is gonna kind of look hokey, but once I get my finger press brake built, I can build a different bracket. So this is just gonna be kind of temporary, and then or if I end up getting a different windshield down the road, I can just rock these anyhow and flip them around. But what I'm gonna do now is get all the wiring set up, and then I will put these on, and then I will drill the hole, get the plug in, and we should be pretty much done from there. All right, so I grabbed the 15 mil socket, and then this is the bracket I'm gonna have to use for this side. So I did see in videos that people said do these separately, do like the top bolt and then put the thing in, and then do the bottom bolt, because if your cage is kind of bent out of whack, you're not gonna be able to line these up, and I guess it's gonna be a pain in the ass. So what I'm gonna do is just take this one off, slide that bracket in there, sorry about the camera wobbling, and then thread the bolt back in, and then go ahead and do the second one. I did have to tighten that top one up pretty tight, because I heard I left it kind of loose. I just had it just started on these threads, and once I started loosening this bottom one up, I could hear the like cage kind of start crinkling and bending and shit. So I went ahead and tightened that top one up a little more. Now I'm getting ready to put my washer back on in this nut, and then I can tighten it right down. All right, it's tight now. All right, two things real quick before we go on. Aux beam here actually shorted me a nut. So like this one comes with one, and then the other one is built into the back of the light, which that light's there. As you can see, there's one built in here, if it will focus. But the other bolt here, I didn't have a nut. I was missing one, and I didn't have one that fit it, and I didn't want to run to town, so I actually just put a different bolt in it that I had, that I knew I had a nut that would fit it. So thumbs down on that part. They shorted me a nut for that little bolt. Second thing I should probably go over is you are going to need one of these step bit deals and a drill, because I just went to go put this light on real quick, and this hole is tiny, so I'm just gonna kind of whomp it out real quick. Other than that, this should go together super simple. Alright, next, after you get your little bottom bracket deal on for your little light there, go ahead and set your camera down, I guess. Alright, after you got your camera set down there, you take your supplied bolt with the supplied lock nut. You got your little nut that's inside here that I was kind of mentioning about earlier. You want to take that, slide it through this guy, and then thread her in. I believe these are 14 mil that came with this aux beam set up here. I don't mind sitting straight out, so I gotta put them as low as they go. And then grab a 14 mil and just tighten her up. Alright, that's pretty tight. I don't think it's going anywhere. And then next, gotta figure out where we want to run these wires through at. Which I think what I'm going to do is just shove mine in this little hole right down behind here. I know you guys can't see it, but you can kind of find it on your own rig, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty hidden. And then, I guess if you wanted to, you could zip tie that up out of the way. But I think that'll be alright. I don't think that's going to snag anything. Alright, so I got the auxiliary one, so power once the key comes on, it's pretty much all that means, and the ground wired up long enough so I can fit it in the dash, drill that hole and put it there. But I figured I'd show you guys, that way if you have any questions, how I'm wiring this up, because as you can see on here, if it will focus, the left side says power, the middle says load, and the right side says ground. So, and then there's a little light that comes on with this. I wish I would have looked at it. This one's green. I wish I would have got a blue one to match my interior light in there, or orange or something. But whatever, I'm not going to complain. So I got my ground going to ground where it says on here, which is on the right side when I have it facing this way. And then the auxiliary is going to the power on here. And then if I can get this to stay, I'll set the camera down. Alright, so let me go ahead and flip the key on. So ground will go to your normal ground, and then where it says load, that's going to be what will supply this. So let's put this on the ground and this on the load. You can see it's not on yet, but once I flip the button, I don't really want to fucking shock myself here, it turns on. So that's how I'm going to go ahead and wire it up. I figured I'd show you guys before I did it all. That way if you have any questions. So I'm going to drill that hole out, stick the button in there, and then I'll flip the camera back on once I have everything pretty much wired up. Alright, so I actually ran out of electrical tape, but I do have these soldered up. As you can see, this is the power. Actually, this is the ground, I believe. Oh, no. This is the one of them's the ground, one of them's the power. I didn't mark them. Usually I put electrical tape. I put a piece of black electrical tape, or red, because that's the only colors I use. I'll put red on the power, black on the ground. But I ran out of electrical tape, so I soldered them up. They work. My lights are off. Here are my headlights. And then here's my switch all installed. You probably can't see it. And then here are the pods. So it definitely makes a difference. So I think it's going to be brighter than my high beams, and that's all I was going for. Step back here. That's what she looks like. You can definitely tell they're a little brighter. I got them pointed out a little ways, but it should light everything up. The only thing left I have to do is I'm going to go look for some electrical tape. I think there's some inside somewhere, but I'm just going to put some tape on here, even though this is soldered up. I'd rather have it taped, and then I'll get it all looking all good. Zip tie it. Zip tie these probably just on this cross member here, and then I'll be done. That's it. So I'm gonna turn this off because it's like blinding me. So that's that. If you guys know why these halogen headlights don't work, like if they mine are slow, I don't know if that's how all of them are or what, drop that down below in the comments. Also, if you know how to wire into the factory headlight rocker switch or whatever, drop that down below in the comments, because I would kind of like to know. I already got this hooked up, so I'm probably not going to change it, but that way like I could just know what I was doing wrong. But yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and drop a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Hit that bell to turn on notifications and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I just got this RaZZer, so this is like the first thing I've done to it, but there's gonna be a lot of stuff here in the future. There's gonna be a lot of how-tos and DIYs. I'm gonna try to deck this thing completely out on a budget, like as cheap as I can. And then I got some buddies that have like brand new RaZZers, the dynamics and stuff that are kind of going all out with their builds. So we'll see a lot of that on this channel. So yeah, guys, until next time, I am out. RaZZer's Nation, bud.